Well, welcome to Spectrum. It is great to have you here today. We just ask you to stand to your feet and sing along with us as we praise and worship the Lord.
I'm feeling good, good, good in a crazy way. God's love changed me more than I can say. I can't keep this in, I'm gonna let it out. I'm gonna tell the whole world that your love's spinning me round and round. Yeah, it's turning me upside down. I can't believe the way you love me more than I can contain. I'm gonna turn around and give it away. Oh, 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 oh. I'm gonna give it away. Oh, 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 oh. I'm gonna give it away. I want the world to know just how I feel. They've gotta know, your love is real. You love me just the way I am. I'm gonna tell the whole world that your love's spinning me round and round. Yeah, it's turning me upside down. I can't believe the way you love me more than I can contain. I'm gonna turn around and give it away. Oh, 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 oh. I'm gonna give it away. Oh, 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 oh. Your love is spinning me round and round. Yeah, it's turning me upside down. I can't believe the way you love me more than I can contain. I'm gonna turn around and give. Your love is spinning me round and round. Yeah, it's turning me upside down. I can't believe the way you love me more than I can contain. I'm gonna turn around and give it away. Oh, 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 oh. I'm gonna give it away. Oh, 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 oh. I'm gonna give it away. Awesome.
Oh, that was fantastic. Well, let's sing together. I have decided to follow Jesus. Decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back, no turning back. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back, no turning back. Gives me hope for each new day. I'm gonna follow Jesus. He lights my path all along the way. I'm gonna follow Jesus. So I will go wherever he leads. I'm gonna follow Jesus. No turning back. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back, no turning back. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back, no turning back. Gives me hope for each new day. I'm gonna follow Jesus. He lights my path all along the way. I'm gonna follow Jesus. And I will go wherever he leads. I'm gonna follow Jesus. No turning back. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back, no turning back. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back, no turning back. No turning back, no turning back. No turning back, no turning back. Oh, man, that is fantastic. That's fantastic. It's important that we make that called a declaration. I've decided to follow Jesus, and I'm not going to turn my back no matter what happens. Yes, that's right.
We have to choose.
That's right. It is a choice. It is a choice. We do have to choose. That's exactly it.
I'm reading my Bible, and this is what it says to me. It tells me that I'm never ever alone. I'm learning how Jesus came down to earth and gave his best. Without a doubt, the best friend you'll ever know. Our God knows exactly what I need, so I'll remember this. Let's go! When you ask, he cares, and when you seek, he's there. And when you knock, 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 God opens up the door. And when you ask, he cares, and when you seek, he's there. And when you knock, 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 God opens up the door. I'm reading my Bible, and this is what it says to me. It tells me that I'm never ever alone. I'm learning how Jesus came down to earth and gave his best. Without a doubt, the best friend you'll ever know. Our God knows exactly what I need, so I'll remember this. Let's go! When you ask, he cares, and when you seek, he's there. And when you knock, 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 God opens up the door. And when you ask, he cares, and when you seek, he's there. And when you knock, 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 God opens up the door. He cares, and when you seek, he's there. And when you knock, 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 God opens up the door. And when you ask, he cares, and when you seek, he's there. And when you knock, 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 God opens up the door. Our God knows exactly what I need, so I'll remember this. Let's go! When you ask, he cares, and when you seek, he's there. And when you knock, 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 God opens up the door. And when you ask, he cares, and when you seek, he's there. And when you knock, 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 God opens up the door. That's awesome, everybody. Now let's go listen to the message.
Good morning, boys and girls. Thank you so much for joining us for Spectrum Online. Now, if you do live in the area, feel free to come on down to the church every Sunday morning during the summer, because we have our kids program running for the next 6 weeks. So you come on down. You'll get to meet a bunch of people. We'll do some crafts and games along with the lesson. But if you can't be here, that's okay too. I hope you get a lot out of today. So we are continuing on our theme of God is stronger than anything. Check this video out.
Howdy, I'm Rolo the Armadillo. I'm the official state animal of Texas, y'all. Don't mess with Texas. There are a lot of different kinds of armadillos. Some are big, some are small, some are pink, red, black, gray, or even yellow. Some have different kinds of armor. I'm a 9-banded armadillo, but I can have anywhere from 7 to 11 bands. Those bands are a big deal. In fact, all armadillos have some kind of armor. Maybe that's why the name armadillo means little armored one in Spanish. So let's talk some more about my armor, y'all. It's made up of overlapping plates that cover my whole body from head to tail. We may not be furry and cuddly, but we're strong. Our tough armor protects us. When danger comes, we just dig a quick hole and get inside so that only our tough armor is showing. No one can get us. Some armadillos roll up in a little ball, so just their armor is showing. Even with all this armor, I can swim really well if I need to, and I can hold my breath underwater for up to 6 minutes, y'all. God even gave me another way to stand strong when predators come around. When I get scared, I jump 4 or 5 feet straight up in the air. That big jump usually surprises anyone who thought I looked like a tasty treat. So even though I'm only about the size of a cat, I am one strong animal, y'all. God made me strong, but He's even stronger. God is so strong, He's even stronger than death itself. In the Bible, the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 38 says, "And I am convinced that nothing can ever separate us from God's love." Just like nothing can get through my strong skin, nothing can break God's love for y'all. So when you lie, or disobey, or say something mean, God's love and forgiveness surrounds y'all like an armadillo's armor. My strong skin protects me when other critters want to eat me. Woo! My swell shell can remind you of someone else who's strong. God is stronger than anything.
All right, wasn't that cool? The armadillo, how strong he is, and the armor that he wears, and how that protects him in the desert. I think Rolio, the armadillo, is a pretty cool animal that God created. And even though our armadillos are very strong, God's the one that created them, and He is so much stronger than anything in this world. And that's what we want you to take away from today. All right, so today we are going to continue talking about how strong God is, and we're going to actually think about how strong He is in comparison to the weather around this world, which is kind of cool. There's a lot of crazy things that can happen. So I'm going to read a story to you from the Bible. Now, this story can be found in 3 of the Gospels. It can be found in Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And in Luke, it's found in chapter 8, verses 22 to 25. All right, so I'm going to read you the story. And this is called The Storm That Stopped. So remember, Jesus is stronger than anything we face. All right, so one day, long ago, Jesus was teaching people by the sea. Some more people came, and then others, and then more and more, until there were people everywhere. The crowds were just too big. No one could see Jesus, and no one could hear Jesus. They were saying things like, "We can't hear back here," or "Give us some room," or "Be quiet," or "I can't see." You know, I'd want to see Jesus too if I was in that crowd. So Jesus asked his friends, the disciples, to push the boat out into the water. Smart. He sat on the boat, and the huge crowd sped out along the beach. Now they could see all and hear Jesus as he told them all about God. When he finished teaching the people, Jesus said to his friends, "Let's go over to the other side of the sea." Jesus had finished teaching the crowd, and now he had something to teach his friends. But they didn't know it yet. So they all jumped in the boat and with him and set sail across the sea. Jesus was so tired. He had been teaching the people all day. I know what that feels like. And so he laid down in the back of the boat and fell fast asleep. It was quite calming. The water gently lapped against the boat, and the sun slowly set in the sky. Jesus was sleeping, and the disciples were quietly talking. Then all of a sudden, they were in the middle of the biggest, loudest, scariest, most ginormous storm they could ever imagine. The wind blew hard, and the waves got higher. The water poured into the boat, but Jesus was asleep. The wind blew harder, and the waves grew higher, and the water filled the boat, but Jesus was still asleep. Jesus, wake up, we're drowning, don't you care? What a silly thing to say to Jesus. Of course he cared. He loved his friends so much that one day he was going to die for them. Jesus stood up in the boat. The wind was still blowing. The waves were bigger than ever, and the water was pouring into the boat quicker than the disciples could tip it out again. The boat was sinking. Ooh. But then Jesus did something amazing. He didn't help the friends pour the water out of the boat. He didn't help them try to row back to shore. Jesus simply spoke. But he didn't speak to the disciples. He spoke to the storm, to the wind, and to the waves. Quiet, be still. That's what he said. Just 3 little words, and the storm stopped. Right away, at that very moment, the sea was quiet, still, and calm. Then Jesus looked at his friends. Why are you so afraid? Did you still not trust me? But they were terrified, and they asked each other, who is this? Even the wind and the waves do what he says. This is what Jesus wanted to teach them. He wanted them to know exactly who he was. The disciples already knew a lot about God from his special book. They knew that God made everything. He made the world and the sun and the moon and the stars. He made the sea and the wind and the waves. They knew that only God can tell the sea what to do, that only God could tell the wind when to blow and the waves when to crash. Only God could do those things. But the disciples had just seen Jesus do the same things God did. So what is the answer to their question? Who is Jesus? Jesus is God, which is awesome. So when you read that story, that's a story of Jesus calming the storm. And that shows how powerful Jesus is. He is stronger than anything you'll face. So check out this video about a kid named Fabio who had to live through a hurricane. So check this out.
Today, we traveled to the Caribbean island of Puerto Rico to meet Fabio. Fabio loves living in Puerto Rico.
My neighborhood is quiet, and my home, I love it. I wouldn't say it's big, but I wouldn't say it's small. You know, just perfect for everybody. You can see them over there. You know, it's for everybody to be together.
Fabio likes playing video games. He's also in a band.
I have a band called The Goonies with my 2 best friends, David and Daniel. We go every other Sunday to make up a new song or 2.
Fabio also plays soccer and goes to school online. Puerto Rico is a beautiful place. But a few years ago, a large hurricane hit the island of Puerto Rico, and Fabio's home was right in the hurricane's path. A hurricane is a large rotating storm with very strong winds and heavy rain. When hurricanes hit land, they can cause a lot of damage, like flooding. And the strong winds can damage homes. For Fabio and his family, there was no escaping the hurricane.
I remember my mom sent us to bed earlier, my sister and I, and to forget about the hurricane. But I didn't forget about it.
His mom and dad tried to hold their door closed against the strong winds, but the storm was too powerful.
And our mom and dad tried to keep it from breaking apart or the hurricane coming in. My dad knew that it was too powerful, and he said to my mom that they couldn't hold it anymore.
Fabio and his family huddled together in the safest room of their home, the bathroom.
So we heard things crashing on the wall, we heard things slamming against the door, things crashing on the floor, and I was really scared. My dad, my sister and I, my mom, we huddled together and sang songs to the Lord, prayed over and over.
Did you hear that? In the middle of the big storm, they sang songs and prayed. Finally, the storm passed. There was a lot of damage done to many homes on the island of Puerto Rico. Fabio and his family were worried about what the hurricane did to their home.
My dad went out, and by his surprise, it was perfect. We have paintings, and none of them fell. No water came in, the door was broken, the front door, but nothing else. And it actually showed me that God is always there by your side. We were so happy that we knew God as our Savior, and He's just so powerful.
God is powerful, and His love is stronger than anything. In the Bible, Book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 38, it says, "And I am convinced that nothing can ever separate us from God's love." Fabio knows that God is stronger than anything.
You know, it gives you a sense of security. Even through tough times, you know that God is really there by your side, so you don't have to worry about anything.
God is stronger than anything.
All right, that hurricane seemed really scary. And you know what's amazing is that Fabio and his family were completely safe. God protected them. Nothing bad even happened to their house. The door broke, but other than that, God protected them. There wasn't a single thing missing, no shingles or anything like that, which is amazing. That shows me that God, even today, is stronger than anything that we can face. Have you ever been through something scary like that? Or something where you were scared? I have. I'll tell you a little story. So last year I went camping at Keji, and there was a storm coming. They called it a tropical cyclone. And so I was a little bit scared, and I talked to the park rangers, and they were like, "Oh, don't worry. It's just going to be a lot of rain." So it happened to hit late at night around 11 o'clock. And the wind was so strong that 3 separate times I heard crash and bang, trees falling over. So I was really scared. And I prayed and I asked God to help me not to be afraid. And He gave me some wisdom, and He said, "Let's get your family and go in the truck and go park in a parking lot." So we weren't around any trees that were falling. And that made me more at peace as well. So that's what happened. And guess what? We stayed in the truck all night, we slept there, and then in the morning we went back to our camp, and there was no trees that had fallen near us, which was so thankful, and I knew that God was protecting us. So that's a time when I went through something that I was pretty scared about, but God still protected me, and He protected my family and all the people around the campground. And I know that it can be scary sometimes going through things. Like, I know that my little daughter, she's afraid of the dark, right? She worries and is a little bit scared of the dark. So every night, I just pray that God will give her peace and protect her and keep her safe as she sleeps. And he does. He has never let me down. He's always there. And he's stronger than any fear that any of us can have. So just keep that in mind, that God is so strong. All right. So I have a couple science experiments for you to really show us that humans, we are not very strong at all. So check out these 3 experiments on the video and try them. So pause each time the experiment comes up. And then I want to see how well you guys did. So check out this video and see if you can do any of these experiments.
Hey, what's up? It's Mr. J with Cy and the Fly, and today I have a couple of challenges for you. If you're up to it, video yourself doing these challenges and post them on social media, such as Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Make sure you're using the hashtag Cy and the Fly. Are you ready? Let's do this. Now, these challenges are all about gravity and finding your center of mass. The term gravity is used to describe a force of gravitation on an object or near the surface of a celestial body, such as Earth, the Moon, or some other planet. Now, this force pulls on all mass. All mass exerts a gravitational force, from the smallest subatomic particle to the largest star in the universe. The greater the mass, the greater the gravitational force. Now, for the center of mass is a point in an object where the mass or the weight seems to be concentrated. This point can be a physical object, or it can be a point outside of the object as well. In a round object, the equally distributed mass is the center of the sphere, is the center of the mass. To find the center of the mass of an irregular object, well, it's going to take a little bit more work. And in this case, a lot more fun. First challenge is the thumb press. Here's how you do it. First, place a chair against the wall so that it cannot slide back. Sit in the chair with your feet flat on the floor in front of the chair. Your feet must not be slanted or angled to the side. Have a partner gently place their thumb on your forehead. Now, try to stand up without forcing the hand back. The reason it's so hard to stand up is because your center of mass is still over the seat of the chair and not over your feet. The next challenge is the chair lift, and here's how you do this one. Place a chair along the wall. Now stand so that your feet are not under the chair. Bend over at the waist and place your head on the wall so that your back is flat and parallel to the ground. Now lift the chair and try to stand up. The results of this one may vary based on gender. The center of mass for boys is higher than the center of mass for girls. When a boy is bent over, his center of mass is actually over the chair and he's balancing against the wall. When he tries to stand up, he'll fall most of the time. The girl's center of mass, however, is lowered closer to the hips. When she is bent over, her center of mass is still over her feet, so she can most of the time stand up. This next challenge is the quarter grab, and here's how you do this one. Start this one by standing with your feet against the wall. Now place a quarter on the floor at the tips of your feet. With your back and the back of your feet against the wall, bend over and try to pick up the quarter. Now, the old derriere is the culprit for making this challenge a little bit difficult. When people bend over, their rear ends extend to balance them, which keeps their center of mass over their feet. Against the wall, an individual's rear end cannot counterbalance them. Now, my final challenge to you is the leg raise. Here's how you do this one. Simply stand sideways against the wall, with one shoulder against the wall, with the same side leg against the wall as well. Now, simply try to raise the opposite leg without holding on to anything. Look. nearly impossible for the same reason as before. Your body simply can't counterbalance the weight distribution. Now, I dare you to try some of these on your own or with friends or family. Remember to post pictures or videos to social media, such as Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, and be sure to use the hashtag #SciOnTheFly. I can't wait to see your results. It's been Mr. J with Sci on the Fly, the place where science makes sense.
All right, how strong were you? I know when I did them, I could do the chair one and lift the chair up and then stand back up, but I could not do the other two. They were just too tricky. And to me, that just shows that humans have such limitations. We are not strong. We can try to think we are, but when our center of balance is thrown off, it makes us very weak individuals. And that just reminds me that even though I am weak, God is strong and He is taking care of us and He is always there and He is stronger than anything that we will ever have to face. All right, so I'm going to pray for you today. I hope you have a great week this week, and let's bow our heads. Dear God, thank you for sending Jesus to die for us, and thank you for showing that you're stronger than death, and you're stronger than weather, you're stronger than anything that makes us scared. Thank you, Jesus, that you are alive and with us today. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, boys and girls, I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you again next week. And hey, if you're in the area and you want to drop by, come to Rock Church on Sunday morning, and we will be here. Hope to see you. Bye.